So we revealed before the show.
We did. Because we had to talk it through.
We did. And rightfully so. I think we hit the nail on the shield.
Nail on the shield.
Nail on the head. I actually thought mine was going to be a little bit like yours of let me handle everything.
Yeah.
Because I often had to do that as well.
Yeah.
And then you step into, well, if I handle it, I'm in control, which is also not true, right?
Right.
But
You're in control, but you're tired.
Well, and really, I would almost say you're still almost not in control.
That's fair. Yeah.
In the sense of now, I can control how I react to something, but I can't control the fact that what someone says or does hurts me.
Yes.
It can still hurt, but I can either, go take that hurt, heal from it, let it become something better, or the whole, better and bitter. I could get bitter or I could get better. That's my control, but I couldn't control somebody else and what they did.
You can't control their
toward
actions,
me.
what they say.
Yes.
That's hard for a lot of people to realize, that you can control your reaction, but you can't control somebody else's action or words.
So I thought initially it was going to be that, and then we started asking some questions and talking about things, and I think that mine is actually people-pleasing.
Yeah. And we talked about people-pleasing. We talked about it in the last book, and You're Not For Everyone. We talked about it in prior episodes. But if you really think about it, people-pleasing, it's a shield.
It is.
It really is. It is a shield to protect you from getting hurt or from disappointing other people. So people pleasing, the shield is, I don't want to disappoint this person.
Yeah. Which is, if you dig a little deeper, is almost my way of trying to control something.
Yeah.
Because if everyone else is happy, then we're all good and you don't have to worry about me. If everybody else is good, we don't have to worry about me. And then I can worry about me in my own little corner because everybody else is okay. That's my shield.
I think a lot of people think like that because I have, there were so many. What was funny when we did all the different types of examples in the book for people pleasing and stepping out of your comfort zone, there were way more people pleasers than any of the other categories. And so many of the stories I've had the opportunity to hear is like that's where they get hung up, is pleasing people. Mm-hmm. And there's a balance. Like you certainly want to be nice and help. I probably need to please people more than I do, but I'm a tick off people type of person. But no, there's a balance and there's an opportunity in that. But pleasing people and helping people that are in your circle is great. And at the same time, if it becomes a shield, that's where the challenge is. If it becomes a reason for you to kind of control the situation or, like you said, go off on your own, just like do my own thing. That's where it gets kind of tough.
Yeah.
Right?
And shields are interesting because back to your point, we usually, whatever we weld that shield out of is typically something that has happened in the past.
Right.
That protected us in that moment.
Yeah.
But then we go and more through life, and what you did then isn't really applicable to what you're trying to do now.
But it's so funny that we do. You're right. You're spot on. And we take the thing that happened to us. And I know that there's a lot of trauma. We've done episodes on trauma. I personally, this is trigger alert for some people listening. I personally think we have bastardized the word trauma. I really do. Because there are some people that have had major, major traumatic things happen, both micro and macro traumas. It has become a buzzword. Mm-hmm. Anytime something becomes a buzzword, I immediately start to hate it because it just means that everybody's jumping on that bandwagon. So the reason I bring that up, there are some major traumas that have happened to people, major, that takes a lot of people to, a lot of prayer, a lot of therapy, a lot of everything to get through. But then there are also some traumas, and I use that in quotes for those of you guys listening. There are some traumas that truly aren't that traumatic. We're just making them a thing. Right? So that's where I really want to challenge people is quit making it a friggin' thing. But look at it. Be real about it. Like, was this? Has I overcome it? You can live in the past or you can move forward to the future. We all have crap we've come through. Honestly, I've divorced parents. I've been through a divorce myself. 2/3 of my kids at any given moment are mad at me. Could I live there and wallow there? For sure. But what good is that going to do me to get to where I want to go? Yeah. So I think part of the shield and dropping it is figuring out what excuses and BS crap have I been putting up with that I need to move past.
Yeah.
And if you can't move past it on your own, if truly you are one of the people, disclaimer here, if you're one of the people listening who it is a major traumatic, get help. Get professional help to get you through that. But I'm going to venture to say 80-90% of us, what we are viewing as traumatic, if you really hear the stories of people who have been through real real trauma, yes, I know it's traumatic to you, but these are things we can get by. Mm-hmm. So, but that starts with dropping the armor that we built around us to protect us.
Mm-hmm. Well, and back to, some shields are welded out of pain for something, right? It doesn't necessarily.
Most of them, I would think.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be something that it was trauma per se, but it was some sort of pain.
Yeah.
And I think, again, back to talking to a trusted voice about it, something that I have learned to appreciate it as I've gotten a little bit older is actually opposing viewpoints.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't necessarily mean that I have to agree with you and what you're saying, but it does give me something to examine.
I think that's fantastic. And I wish more people could see and hear opposing viewpoints.
And sometimes it will. Also, there are times when hearing an opposing viewpoint will make you stop and go, I've actually looked at this the wrong way the whole time. Mm-hmm. And it can open up a new world for how you view something.
Yeah. And I think, a lot of times opposing viewpoints are good. And, to your point earlier, somebody that's going to listen and hear you and do all that, because we tend to, as humans, we tend to generalize and we tend to everything, think about kids. Everybody hates me. Everybody's mad at me. It's not everybody. It's probably one person that you're but the same thing happens as a shield is not built overnight. We start to generalize and we start to say everybody hates. I'll bear it all here. Part of my challenge with opening up to people is if you guys are listening and you've ever, from a relationship standpoint, you ever been cheated on, that shield goes up and it is thick and it is hard to remove, right? Now, this is not my ex-husband. My ex-husband is a great person, but a gentleman that I dated for a long period of time after that ended up being an ass. He was a bad human. I've talked about him on the show before without naming names. He was a cheater. He lied. It was all the bad things. I was pretty darn open before that, and the shield got thick after that. I trusted no one. I didn't want to date. All men were terrible. Everybody, you generalize everything because if the hurt is so bad that it causes you to just curl up and put that shield on, you generalize. Everybody does this. Everybody does. Mm-hmm. And I've heard it from relationships. I've heard it. Everybody cheats. Everybody leaves. No one's going to see you. All those things. From a professional standpoint, they second guess their partners. They think that everybody's out to swindle them. They think all vendors or clients or whatever are just trying to take their money. Any of that. Whatever you're starting to generalize that everybody does is a pretty good clue as to where your shield might be. Right?
Well, as you were going through that, I was literally just thinking to myself, it's interesting because, again, pointing to the fact that we have uncovered what my shield is, because I am the opposite. Everything's my fault.
But you generalize it because you said everything is your fault. Yeah,
exactly. And so that is what I do, and I generalize it to myself.
Yeah.
And it was funny. I was just talking to someone about this, and they also ever so kindly let me know that that's actually a very selfish way of thinking.
You thinking it's all about you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Even
most people aren't thinking about you.
Exactly. Yes.
I think about you all the time, but other than that,
I know
other than me and
Isaac,
most people aren't.
But it is true in the sense of, we often think that our shield is something that is protecting us.
Yes.
But it could be that thing that is actually hurting us.
And that's exactly the point and why we're saying drop it or start to drop it, start to open it up a little bit. because I viewed it forever as protected. If I don't date, and you guys know, I mean, any of my close friends, a lot of my friends listen to this. They're like, I mean, it became a running joke. She doesn't date. She didn't go. I'm like, I wouldn't. I could find something. The Rock could show up, and I would have probably not The Rock. The Rock or Keanu excluded. Anybody else could have shown up, and I would have found something wrong because I was generalizing that I was protecting me, but what I was doing was blocking. If the shield is up, you miss all the good. You know what I mean? Like somebody could think of your knight in shining armor, like the medieval person. They're protecting themselves from the swords, but they also can't see. They can't see out of those things. They don't know what's right in front of them.
Yeah.
So that's what, when we talk about dropping the shield, I don't mean be carefree and throw caution to the wind. I just mean look at it situationally. Get rid of the everybody, or it's all about me, or it's all about them, and think about this one situation. What's right in front of me right now is that, do I need a shield? And your gut will tell you. Your gut will tell you if you need a shield. You know, if I really follow my gut, I'm usually spot on. Most of us are. But I feel like we're deflecting the good when we do that.
Yeah.
So when you think about it, like, what do you feel like? For me, I know I missed out on opportunities and friendships and things like that because I was so guarded. And I'm still very guarded. And I've said this before with those of you guys that have been listening for a while. I always talk about grasp, grow, and group. Like I categorize the people in my world, and I am fiercely widely open to my inner circle. And my inner circle is very small. So those people, there is no shield. There's nothing. They see the good, the bad, the ugly, and they call me out on it or praise me accordingly, right? The middle group, they start to see a little. But a shield is okay from a protective barrier, but it shouldn't be okay as a wall that keeps people from getting in.
Yeah.
The right people. Let me rephrase that.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think sometimes the difficult part can be that's often how you discover that you have a shield and that you need to let it down, is because you lose something that's good.
For sure. Repeat that again for the people in the back. No, you're spot on.
Which really sucks.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. We have to, the biggest mistakes, the most painful mistakes that happen in my world were 100%, or not 100, 98% my fault. And it was usually because I was worried about the wrong thing. I was thinking the wrong, I didn't give the right person an opportunity. And what's funny is things are going pretty freaking good for me right now. I am so happy, like personally. And a little over a year ago, I wrote in my journal, because I write down everything. I keep a journal. And here's what it said. And because I had the clothes, I was intentionally working on trying to drop the shield, being more open. The running joke was like opening the chakras and everything. I wrote in my journal, I will say yes to adventures and opportunities presented by friends.